Alrighty, this is a video on a starting engine off of a D7 Caterpillar 1952 that seized up, and here we go. This is the block. Luckily I was able to hone the block, and but the crankshaft had to be ground, and I've got it sitting here with the crankshaft ground 20 under, because basically all the parts I could find were for 20 under, and so all these bushings and all this stuff is new. And there's the cam out of it. This is actually the impeller out of the water pump that I'm fixing that was leaking quite a bit. A few piles and parts and pieces. This is the lower section of the block. The block shares oil with the side of the cavity of the engine. It doesn't go to the engine, but the block bolts onto the side of the engine with a gasket. Back there. And then this is the transmission of the starting engine. You have basically a bell housing that has the clutch that you engage to start the engine cranking, the diesel engine cranking. And I've replaced bearings and seals and all that sort of stuff in there. And this is a high-low range gearbox for the starting engine. And quite a bit of time was spent on this, which is the starting pinion. And it kicks out with these little teeth right here. And it requires new locks, new pins, lots of stuff. And when it turns at a correct RPM, these release, and this kicks out like that, and allows it not to overrun the starting engine. It is adjustable with these right here, which you do not want to over tighten because they'll over rev the engine. This is the governor housing, I guess you would call it. It has the end of the camshaft, turns those gears. That down there is actually where the hand crank part that starts it is. This is the part that engages the starter. The starter goes into that round part there and transmits power through the starter to that gear, and when you move that over to energize the starter solenoid, it engages that gear at the same time. This is part of the hand cranking mechanism that bolts onto bolts onto the end of that. And this is the flywheel. It has serrations up inside that are used to drive that clutch assembly. This is an old exhaust manifold that was pretty warped, and I had to take and resurface the backside because it was extremely warped. Few parts and pieces have been cleaned up, painted, new gaskets. That's the carburetor right there. So I've about got all of this mess ready to go back to there together. This is the pistons. How about these are the pistons? New bearings, 20 under bearings. That's about it. If you ever get the pleasure to go through one, this will show you some parts and pieces and how they go together.